Hey girl, my name is Anel. Welcome to the Brave and Her podcast, where we inspire, empower, and motivate by sharing our stories of bravery. I strongly believe that by sharing our stories, we open ourselves to healing, but also serve to give hope and inspiration to those who are dealing with a tough situation. We will talk about all topics under the sun. Now let's hear your stories of bravery. Hey girl, thank you for being here in this episode. In this episode, I have Stefanie Trujeque-Gomez, and she's here to share her story about how she, what events in her life led her to be a mentor for young girls, specifically like preteens. So she's here to share this story. Stephanie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Thanks for having me, Anel. So nice to reconnect with you as well. Like Anel said, I'm Stefanie Gomez, mom of 3, ages 7, 5, and an almost 2-year-old. I am busy these days managing 2 homes. We just bought a vacation home in Big Bear that we're renting out short term. And most recently, it's been about a year now, working with the Girls Positivity Club as an empowerment coach and leader with them. And I'd love to share more about how my journey got me here.
Yeah, so first I just want to say that, if you're listening or watching this on YouTube, if you're in the area, she lives in Hacienda Heights, California. So if you live in the area, if you live in California, if you have a daughter, niece, a girl it's a preteen, consider joining the Girls Positivity Club. I have my stepdaughter, she's 12, and she's in the Girls Positivity Club. And trust me, is like the best, money that you can spend on your kid.
Thank you, Anel.
So going back to your story, so guide us how, what events led you to want to be a mentor for young girls?
Yeah, give you a little bit of background about me. My parents are immigrants. They came to the U.S. First, my dad to finish college, and then my mom with me when I was a year old. So I grew up here, first generation. As immigrants, there was an incident that happened when I was around 3 years old. My father was wrongly accused of trying to sell his kids. So at that time, I was 3. My sister was just a few months old. And yeah, it traumatized our family. My dad was removed from the home. And I bring this up because certain events happen in our lives and it starts to shape us as who we are. And as a family, that incident, I think, made the world feel a little unsafe. We're new to this country, can't really trust that much. And that kept us very close-knit. My parents would take us everywhere, very protective. My mom, I feel like she was very courageous. She left Belize at 18 years old. But as time grew on, I feel like she got very scared, very anxious, and her children definitely picked up on that. I could feel myself like being very scared and holding back a lot. I had a great childhood. They did the best they could, of course. But around middle school, I'd say I started to feel like, I know my biggest complaint was I felt invisible. Like, everyone's making friends and I was just trying to kind of fit in with the crowd, maybe on purpose making myself invisible. So my self-esteem was kind of low. I didn't really feel like it was good enough. I had a best friend who seemed to get all the attention, all the boys, and I felt like she has something that I don't have. So I'm missing something, I'm not good enough in some way. And all these thoughts, made me more and more shy, kind of scared to speak up. And I ended up studying psychology in college because I thought, I'm going to study something. I want to figure out, what's going on with myself. So it was very interesting. I throughout the college years, I never really found something that like could make me like change or brought about what I was really looking for until I ended up sitting in the Landmark Forum. It's a weekend educational course. And that weekend, during an exercise about fear, that incident when I was 3 years old came back up. And I saw my dad being driven away in a police car. And at that moment, I got that my biggest fear was to be abandoned.
Wow. So all these years you didn't know that that was your fear until you were in college?
This was after college, like in my 20s when I did the Landmark Forum.
Okay.
So, yeah, and by seeing that, I got to see that how that fear was holding me back in so many ways of speaking up because I was afraid of people like my friends leaving me.
Not agreeing with whatever your opinion or whatever you wanted to say, and you wouldn't speak up, right? Because you didn't want them to leave.
Yes, and I saw how that played out in friendships, in relationships, being in relationships where, I kind of wanted to get out, but I didn't know how to get out, and just like taking that step for me. And I felt that was like my first awakening. Like, wow, I had this fear and now I can create a whole new, they call it in Landmark, possibilities. Like, who do I want to be? This is the way I have been through my life. Yeah. And I don't have to be that way anymore. So what could I be? I took on being courageous. So when I would see the fears coming up, I was motivated really to go beyond that. And then the second really big thing from Landmark I got was your relationship to your word, how powerful your words are. The thoughts that you tell yourself, that really creates who you're being in the moment, how you're feeling. So if I'm telling myself, I'm this shy person, I'm like introverted, I have nothing to contribute, then I start being that way. And I realized I was living up here in my head all this time. I was not like being present in my life. And I wonder like there were so many like incidents that I can't even remember because I wasn't really present. Like people would ask me about different things in my life and I'd be like, it would really be hard to recall. And I was like, yeah, because I wasn't there. I was like just too caught up in my head trying to come up with the perfect thing. By the time you really come up with the perfect thing, that opportunity is gone.
Like you physically were there, but mentally you weren't present.
Exactly. So many times. So that was the first awakening. Yeah. And then I shortly after, I met my husband. I think I called him in because I was at this new level. I was like, wow, this man who's like a great communicator, integrity, that was like the major thing. He actually did what he said he was going to do. So we had a great marriage, and you see, so many things my dreams have come true with him. However, as time went on, I had my first 2 children. I was really motivated. After my first daughter, I became a stay-at-home mom. I was in a job that I didn't like. I was an accountant at the time. And he's like, you know what, just, you don't have to stay in a job you don't like. You can go ahead, go back to school, whatever you want to do. He's very supportive. And I did that. And I thought I wanted to go the accounting route. And I ended up taking the state board exam and I didn't pass. And, I just got really comfortable after my second kid. I was just like, I'm just going to support you, take care of the kids. And that was all great for a while. But, I felt like there was definitely something missing still. And that was my purpose, my sense, something more than just my children.
Right.
And then, and sorry, I'm not giving you
it's fine because this is your story. But, I just wanted to say nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, right?
Definitely not.
Some women are, I guess meant to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's their purpose, and that's, that's what they feel. And sometimes also it's what I'm learning right now. It's we go through seasons, right? So maybe your seasons for being a, quote unquote, just a stay at home mom was for a period of time, and then is when, after, I'm just assuming here, but after after that season was over, like you started feeling like I'm missing something, like I'm missing,
Yes.
a sense of purpose other than just being a mom, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But some, like I said, some women are meant to be a stay at home mom and that's their purpose and that fulfills them. But for, some of us, that's not who we want to be, but that's not our purpose, right? Like that doesn't fulfill us only for a season, and then that season's over, and okay, so what's my identity? Right.
Yes. And I think I was going through a little spiral after my third pregnancy, because I thought, after the two, I can go back and figure out what it is I wanted to do. So I ended up having one more child, and, she's a blessing. She definitely is. But I felt like this is all, my days turned into like just being there for my children and my husband. And I really kind of lost my identity and my, like what my dreams, I got lost touch of what those were, basically.
And
so
I was just going to ask, like, how, so once you figured that out, once you, started feeling that way, what did you do different to change?
Yeah. Actually, my sister, she invited me to participate in this women's program. And, back at Landmark, I just loved these opportunities and courses to grow. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So I took a weekend, I did it. And I would say that's when I was awakened again, like for a second time. Just seeing what I learned was I was trying to do everything alone, which we are not meant to do life alone. I was totally isolating myself behind my kids and my family. Just getting, I think, reflecting on what it is that I always wanted to do, And I think, how they say hurt people hurt others. I think when the opposite's true too, when empowered people want to empower others.
Yeah.
I learned so much that weekend, and I ended up doing another program. It was like another 4 months long, just growing with this group of like 40 women and coaches, and really just seeing about our sisterhood, like how important that is, having a group of women that you can grow with, and how societal norms has you compare yourself to others and not encourage each other, which I thought I was doing even with my own sister and different friendships. It just totally opened my mind. And I just thought like having the language, having different tools, how empowering it could be,
Yeah. I like how you put it, that encourage people, encourage people.
Mm-hmm.
We often hear about, the opposite, how you said the opposite, but we don't hear about encouraging people. So I like that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Sorry. So what led you to want to be a mentor for young girls? Like you could have just been like, you know what? I'm just going to mentor like other women, right? Home women. You could have done that. But why young girls?
Yeah. I think it's when I got clear about what I want my purpose to be. Like for me, what came to me was like helping those that felt invisible feel visible, or feel seen, feel heard. And I thought about, again, when was the first time I felt invisible? And that was, around middle school. So if I could be someone that could help who could have been this person that could have helped me at that age for another girl, I think that would be so fulfilling. So I think the first step was getting clear about that. Like, who is it that I really needed?
Yeah.
And once I got clear on that, it's kind of crazy. And the synchronicity, my sister, I was sharing this with her, and she told me that she had a friend who had this club, and she was actually recruiting Stacy as a leader. And she's like, you know what? I think this would be really good for you. I was like, okay, put me in touch with her. So she put me in touch with Melissa. We had a phone call, and she told me about the Girls Positivity Club and the mission of advancing every girl's confidence, and just being in a group setting and having a place just to be yourself. I was like, yes, yeah. I want to be a part of this. So at the time, she was just growing her clubs, and she's in Indiana, so she wanted to grow her clubs globally or nationally in different states. So yeah, I signed up right away and got started out here in California.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like the ages that you're mentoring, they're kind of like the key age, where they're starting to not be a kid anymore, but not necessarily a teen yet. And they're just battling all these different emotions, right? And like the peer pressure at school, and like you said, feeling invisible for whatever reason. There's so many reasons why someone will feel invisible, right? But yeah, I think that age is like so critical.
Yeah, that age. You go through so many changes, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, you're in that in-between stage, not quite child, not quite an adult. And yeah, having some guidance or having someone just to listen, just to vent also.
Yeah. And, like the, because I sometimes kind of overhear what you guys do on your, at the club, the meeting, and Emily always shares. Emily's my stepdaughter, by the way, but for those that don't know, she shares with us after the meeting. Every time after the meeting, she shares with us what you guys did and like the activities and this and that, and it's great that at this age they're becoming aware of their feelings, becoming aware of if there's an issue without them really knowing it's an issue. As an adult, you see it, right? But when you're a kid, like you said, when I was a kid, I wish I had a mentor like that, some group where you can feel safe to talk about your feelings, and maybe it would have been a different outcome, right? Or maybe it would have prevented so many insecurities or missing opportunities because you're insecure, right? So
exactly.
Just having that club or having that group of girls where you can just talk, and having a mentor to like guide you through those feelings and those things that you just go through while you're a preteen or a teenager. I think that's
yeah, I agree. And now that's the reason I am here. I'm very passionate about it. And it's actually filled a big piece of, I felt, what was missing, like that fulfillment that I get to show up every week and be with this group of girls. And it just lights me up when I see them really engaging and really getting the concepts. So,
yeah. And I personally can see the difference. Like I said in the beginning, if you have a daughter or niece or neighbor, a girl that's around that age, give it a try and you'll see the difference.
Yes.
Yeah. What advice would you give to the women who are listening that feels lost and has identity due to like marriage, kids, and illness? For whatever reason, they lost their identity.
Yeah. Definitely. I feel like the number one thing I learned is that you need to fill up your cup before you can pour into others. So if you're neglecting yourself, you're not putting yourself first, you are giving from empty, and it's not the best of you. And the way you can fill yourself up is going after what lights you up. You take time to think about that, quiet the voices. I think our world can get so noisy at times, especially having family or kids and others around you. Take some time, meditation, journaling, to get quiet and get in tune with what it is you really want.
Yeah.
And a community, having community, wherever that is for you. It could be in church or doing a hobby, something you love.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're meant to be alone. We're meant to be in community with others, either with people who share the same passions that you do, or just, like you said, a community at church.
Yeah,
something like that. So anything else you want to say to the listeners, or?
No, I think that's it.
Well, then lastly, where can we find out more about Girls Positivity Club, and where can we find you to, follow more of your journey?
Yeah, I think the best place is on Instagram. Maybe you can put my handle on the notes.
Yeah.
Stefanie.
I'll put it in the description box.
Yeah. Or with also Girls Positivity Club is also on Instagram. You can follow Melissa and find out about other opportunities to be a leader or have your daughter enroll.
Yeah. So I'll put I'll put your Instagram link, and then I'll put Melissa's link, or the Girls Positivity Club link, and I'll put the link to join your club if anyone's interested.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you so much, Stefanie, for sharing your story. And for you who is listening or watching this on YouTube, I hope you're inspired by Stefanie's story. And thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode inspired you. If you like this podcast, please share on social media and tag me on Instagram @TheBraveandHer. I would love to hear your stories of bravery.